Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. You've probably seen that in this fall and winter season knitted skirts and dresses are really on trend. You see them all over and I really like them. I already have quite some of them because they are very comfortable and they always look very good, they're very classy whatever you wear them with, because it's a skirt and it's long, so it always is a good thing to have in your closet. So in this week's sewing tutorial we're gonna make a knitted skirt, and it will be a very easy one, so perfect for beginners because we don't need a pattern. It's just one piece of fabric, so not that much to do, but the outcome will be very nice. And I have this really nice knitted fabric in a sort of mauve color, I don't know what you call it, beige, whatever it is. It's very nice, it's very warm and soft, but it's not really thick. I couldn't find the more thicker knits. They will certainly come when it's getting more to the winter, but for now they only have these more lightweight knits, but I like them very much also now because you can also wear it right now. But because it's thin, we're gonna line it, and that is also a very nice sewing class, this one, for beginners, because also the lining is very easy to do. So when you're afraid of lining, you always think, oh no, that's with lining, I'm not gonna make it. Certainly try this one because you see it is very easy to do, and when you first line your first garment you will do it over and over again, and usually when you line it, it gives a nicer outcome, a more polished outcome, and it's really not that easy to do. So I hope you like this. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you've been here for quite some time, thank you very much for joining every time. And I'll show you what kind of skirt we're gonna make and how we're gonna make it.
And these are some examples that I found on the internet. The top ones are from Princess Polly, the bottom ones I saw on ASOS. And these are just straight on skirts, nothing special, nothing strange, nothing difficult, just straight on down, a slit in the side seam, elastic waistband or elastic in the waist more. And that's it, but they are very comfortable to wear. They look very nice and classy, so it's really nice to make some because you can really make them in a few minutes. It's not even a pattern needed, so it takes no time at all, but they are very nice. And the most difficult part is finding the right fabric, because that is, in my country at least, very difficult always. And I found some that are still rather thin, because here it's not winter yet, so we don't have the really thicker knits yet, but I'm certainly gonna make some thicker ones when they come in the store.
So this time I'm not even gonna bother making a picture or drawing because it is just that simple. What you do is you take your measuring tape and you measure around the biggest part, the widest part of your hips, how much that is. And what you can do, you can measure it rather tight, because you can make your skirt, if you like, very tight because it's stretchy material, or you can do it a little bit more loose, then your skirt will be a bit more loose around your hips. I did that. And that will be the width of your fabric. I folded mine double, so I took half the width that I measured, so I made mine 100 centimeters around, and that means that I cut off in width 50 centimeters on the doubled fabric. Then you measure how long you want your skirt to be. I make mine 85 centimeters. Of course you add your seam allowance here at the bottom as much as you like. If you want a more wider hem you can add more, if you want a smaller hem you can add less. And then on the top of your skirt you're gonna add some centimeters for your casing, because we're gonna put some elastic like this, rather wide elastic, mine is 3 centimeters wide, and we're gonna put that here at the waist. So you add the width of your elastic on the top where you measured it, plus an extra centimeter for your seam allowance, and then you have, when you fold that down, your casing for your elastic. So very easy to do. So that will be the length, and then you just cut out the rectangle with these measurements, and that is your whole skirt. You don't need anything else. That is everything that you need. So no pattern, no difficulties. The funny thing is you only have one seam, so it's really a very simple project, but it will be very nice. You can leave it like that and then go on with the sewing. If you want to take it a step further, what you can do is you can, and especially that is nice when you have quite some difference between your hip measurement and your waist measurement. For me the difference is 30 centimeters, so that is quite a lot. And what you can do is you can taper the top sides of your skirt, taper it a bit in. Then you don't get too much fabric here on top, because it will bulk up when you have to gather it with your elastic. When you have less fabric here at the waistline, then it will not be that much of a bulk. I wouldn't recommend tapering it up to your whole waist width, because when the difference is quite a bit, you will get a really smaller size here, and then your fabric really has to stretch a lot to get your skirt on, to put it over your hips. So my difference was 30 centimeters, so I could taper it in 8 centimeters on either side, 7.5, but I'm just going to taper it in 4 centimeters on either side, so that is already quite a bit. So what you do is then you measure out how much you want it here tapered in, and then you give the curve to here the fold, and on that side the seam allowance. What you also can do then is watch in the mirror how your body is, what the shape of your body is. Mine really goes from my waist really almost immediately to my hip width. Many people just go gradually to the hip size, so you can make some kind of that curve or more the rounded curve as I have here on the side. And put it down a little bit, so I get a bit more of a rounded curve. If you are more gradually, then you make more of a straighter line down to the outside, but it doesn't have to be precise, because still you have fabric left here, so it will not be tight fitted, so your curves shouldn't be the same, but it helps to have less fabric here on top of your skirt. Then you measure out how high you want your slit to be, so from the bottom up. I made mine 60 centimeters from the top. Maybe that is too much when I see this up, but I can see it later on. Just to be safe, you can just stop earlier and then close it up more if the slit is too high to your taste. So that's what we're gonna do. So the only thing that we have to do is sew our side seam. If you want to make adjustments at the waist, here make that, let's call it the dart. I always call it the side seam dart. Sew that down, and then we only have to make the casing and the hem. So it's a really simple project to do. It's certainly good for beginners. And what I'm also gonna do, so that's another option, I'm gonna line it partially, because my fabric is a really nice knitted fabric, not a jersey, but really a knitted fabric, but it is rather thin. And to give it a little bit more structure, and also for the durability of your skirt, I'm gonna line it, and I'm gonna line just the top part until just above the knee. I think for me that is 45 centimeters or something. Yes, 45 centimeters from the top down. I'm gonna line it like that. And that makes also that when you have a thinner fabric, you won't see all your lumps and bumps shining through. You get a little bit more coverage. The fabric gets a little bit more structure, more grip. And also because it's a skirt, you will sit on it, and then you don't get your butt going in, because you're constantly sitting on it, and sometimes you get a little bit of stretch out here around the butt area, and when you have lined it, you won't get that too soon in your fabric. So you can do that too. When you want to do that, I haven't cut mine yet, but I can tell you how to do it. You just cut out the same rectangle, but then shorter, just for the length that you want. You don't have to put on the casing, so just from your waist to the length of your skirt, and then you can here at the sides make the same adjustments to the waist. So nothing different, just same as you did, just less fabric, no length and no casing. Now make sure you cut off the excess here where you make your waist. If you did that, finish the edges with a zigzag stitch or an overlocker. And then if you don't gonna line it, make sure you finish here the top end of your skirt. You can put your elastic in, then fold the facing over and just stitch here your casing down. You can also do it without it, just pin your casing down and then top stitch it, and then with a safety pin feed your elastic in, just whatever you like. Just make sure when you do it with the elastic in that you don't stitch over your elastic, because then you get a problem. Then you can finish like that the whole top part. When you do use a lining, I got my lining literally laying it on top of my outer fabric and making those same adjustments at the waistline and nothing else, nothing special. Then what you do, if you use a lining, put your outer fabric right side out and then put your lining fabric on top of it, or more, put your outer fabric into your lining with the right sides together. So you just put it in, then align your side seam with the side seam of your skirt. And I don't know if I have my side seam on the same sides. I hope so, otherwise I have to flip it all around. Let me see, is this my seam? Yes, I'm lucky. So you match up your side seam here and your side dart on the other side. Wiggle a little bit that you have them nicely together. And then what you do is you pin the whole top parts together. So the lining and the outer part, pin them together and sew them together. And when you've done that, when you flip your lining to the inside, I don't know if I can show it because I haven't pinned it now, but I hope I can show you what happens when you do that. You flip this to the inside, and then when you put your casing, what was the casing is now the casing too, will be flipped inside, and then your lining is attached on the bottom of that casing, and that means that now also you have finished your casing bottom, your casing seam, because your lining is attached here. So then you are very quickly done. The only thing you have to do is then here top stitch the casing and leave an opening somewhere when you sew on your lining, so that you can put your elastic in, and do that after you have top stitch here the line of the casing. That's the easiest to do. And then your top part is totally finished. So you see, when you line it, it is not more work or not more difficult than when you don't line it. And that's why I always like to line skirts, because it is a nicer result. It is a more practical and more comfortable usually. Make sure of course that you have a stretchy lining when your outer fabric is stretchy too. But it's a really nice way to finish it. And as I said, it is not more work or more difficult than when you just have to make the casing like I showed you before with the elastic. It's just the same, but it is really more polished. It looks more polished when it's done, when you have a nice lining inside. So we're gonna do that, and then I'll come back for the last step, because we're almost finished now. only thing that you have to do is hem your slit and your bottom of the skirt, and I will do that simply by making a small rolled hem and then sewing that down by hand. You can also do it with the sewing machine, but on most knits I don't really like the top stitching of a hem, so I will do it by hand. But just try it out on your fabric. If you can do it with your sewing machine, it's way quicker to do. And I hate hand sewing, but I think it's more nice when you do it with this. And of course, if you have lined your skirt, also hem your lining part. And then your skirt is done. And this is the skirt. And you saw it was really easy to make, even with lining. I hope you tried it to line it, because when you have taken the step of starting with lining, when you're afraid of it, you will see that it's very easy to do. And I think it looks really nice. I like the slit. And for the rest it's rather plain, but when you top it with a nice blouse or later on with a nice jumper, you have a really simple way of dressing up, very nice and classy, and it's very comfortable to wear. You can just wear it as loungewear because it's warm and soft and flowy and stretchy, so it's not restricting you anywhere. What I did, I told you that I didn't want my skirt to be too tight around the hips because I just don't like that. So I made it a little wider than my hip width. Finally I took off 15 centimeters and I ended up with 5 centimeters less than my hip circumference, and still it is, you can see it's rather loose, but before that it was really too wide and that didn't look nice. Now it could even be a little bit more tighter, but I like how this looks, and you don't have all those lumps and bumps sticking out, so I like it like this. What you do have, what I don't really like, is here this bunching up. I don't know if you can see it at the waist, because of the elastic, because my the difference between my waist and my hips is 30 centimeters, so it's quite a lot. And when I really make this nicely fit, that I don't have this bunching up in the waistline, the fabric at the waist has to stretch 30 centimeters when I want to try it on. And especially with these knitted fabrics, I don't really like to put that much stress on the fabric, because what you can get is that the fabric, when it's all the time stretching out, when you put it on, it will not really turn back and it doesn't look very nice then here, and you still get that bunching up because the fabric has stretched out. So I made it somewhat smaller than the hip width, I think around half of my difference, so 15 centimeters. And I would rather have it a little bit more, but as I said, I now take it for the fabric that I don't stretch it out too much and then have this bunching up. But as you know, I don't really tuck in my tops. I just tie them, or I just put it over and then you don't see it at all. But when you have just a normal jersey, you can certainly make it smaller at the waist if you have that difference too. But with these knits, there's really knitted fabrics, I would recommend you not to do it that much, because then you really can get a problem, and that will be a shame when you have such a nice garment. But I really like how it turned out. I again hemmed the whole hem and slit part by hand, as I did with my former dress that I made. I must say I'm getting used to it, doing the hemming by hand, because my hands don't really function like that. But when you do it more, it's not getting easier, but it's getting less annoying. So I hope you like hand sewing, because sometimes you just need to do it to give really that nice result at the hemming. And I think you must make sure that you are satisfied with the result that you made, otherwise you will not wear it. So make sure you do it the way you should do it, even when it takes a little bit more effort to do it like this. So I hope you liked this. I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope yours turned out really nice. I'm very happy with my skirt. I already have quite so much, I already said, but I'm certainly gonna make some more. I don't know if I'm gonna film it, because you have seen this one, and when I make another one and another fabric, it will be just the same. But maybe if I don't have time, then I will film it, because otherwise I will have to make 2 garments in a week, and I cannot do that. So what else did I want to say? No, nothing else. If you have any questions, if anything was not clear, or if you have anything to say or to ask, leave them down below in the comment section. And certainly watch the description box, because I always put a lot of information in there in every video, not only this one but in every video. So if you want to know more, or just scroll down and see what I have to say or about this garment or other garments or other videos. So thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you again next time with another fall autumn garment. Bye!